Go away. Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mobile Weekly / Mobile Q&A, where we go over all latest news that happened during the week and answer your questions live. If you have any questions you want to ask, just ask in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. So, a crazy week, still coming together here. Trying to hide it purposely, go a little bit more this way, but it's looking really good, the new studio area, and we'll also be changing up stuff back here as well for this kind of shot, but the new main one is looking pretty good, I would say. Looking pretty good. So yeah, lots of fun stuff coming out, but let's get to the news. If you have any questions you want to ask, just ask them in the comment section, and I will get to them before the end of the show. So let's get started, though, on the news. Some things going around, and some things, again, are reaffirming stuff, and some things are just kind of going all around the place. So, first and foremost, we are hearing yet again, as we heard a couple weeks ago, that it is reaffirmed that the Fold 3 is going to get two things. And that is, one, it is going to have an under-camera display. So basically, you're going to have the selfie camera be underneath the display, so no more hole punch. It'll be the first huge company to do it. ZTE has done it. Other companies have done it in a smaller scale on not like the most successful phones. But I mean, when you're talking Samsung or Apple doing something, that's when the industry takes notice. So it really is something that I think a lot of people will kind of like wow about. And I think it will be that great moment, especially since considering, hopefully, by the Fold 3 timeline, which is, August, September of next year, that will be a live event. It definitely could be. So, very curious to see how that turns out, but it's a very big thing. The second thing is that, again, it's reaffirming it will have a thicker glass and therefore be able to have an S Pen display. Now, it's going to have a different digitizer. We covered that a couple weeks back, but that is going to go down as well. So, very big things for the Z Fold 3. My biggest worry is that will Samsung, for these two reasons, increase the price? I don't think they should. I think 2,000 is plenty. They're making a great profit margin on it. So I really understand they need to recoup R&D, but I still think that do not go over 2,000, Samsung, please. It's unnecessary. It's I would say too greedy, in my opinion. But yeah, it's something that I don't think should happen. Would these two things really stand out to you in terms of what could happen? Let me know. Okay, and in other news, we have been hearing a lot about Samsung making Apple's displays for a long time now. Here's the thing, Apple's been rumored for a long time to go away from Samsung and try to go through manufacturers like TCL and other ones to create mini LED. Apparently, it's just not financially viable at this point, at least at this point. And of course, there's other forms of LED that are very interesting going to come up, including nano LED, which is the big one that, of course, Samsung's working on for their TVs. So, this being said, though, the one big thing, what I've always said Samsung tablets easily have over Apple, is that they have OLED displays. Apple does not. And this is being brought up yet again because since mini LED technology isn't where it needs to be for Apple, at least in price point, manufacturing, everything, it looks like OLED is on the table again for 2021. But from what negotiations are happening, Apple wanted basically Samsung to make a line of OLEDs for their iPads so they can test it, and they like it, but it seems like they're too pricey, it seems like. So it's going to have to kind of see what happens, basically. the really thing about it is, will it be overall in a bad state because you're still going to have IPS display in 2021 and no kind of better thing than that? I think it really should be, but it's very interesting to see how it's going to be coming out. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that. I really think that Apple needs OLED at this point on their iPads. I think that'll be a big change, and it'll make people interested in iPads, especially now that MacBook Airs essentially are way superior to an iPad Pro. You kind of have to have something to pull them back in, which having an OLED display on your iPads and not an OLED on your MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros is a very good start. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes, but it's very interesting to see which way they'll go. In very interesting news to me, this dropped right before I started actually, so I have to check it out. But apparently, there's a Mandalorian AR experience that you can get with everything Samsung basically. So if you have Samsung Smart TV running Disney Plus and the mobile app, you can actually bring the world of Mandalorian to your living room. So it's really interesting. It's supposed to use Google's AR Core, so I'm guessing you have to download that app to it. But apparently, it's only working on specific 5G Samsungs. So the A51, the Note 10, the S10, all 5G versions, S20, Note 20, so my wife's phone would work, and the Z Flip 5G. But for some reason, not the Fold 2. Now, I might try to sideload it or see what I can do, because for instance, Samsung TV Plus is not supposed to work yet on the Fold, but I've had it since it came out and it's worked perfectly. So it definitely can be moved over if you know what you're doing it sometimes, and that's what I'm really trying to figure out and see how that goes here. And man, that's fingerprint up on this light. But very curious to see how it'll go and how this will look. I am very curious, and I'm also 3 weeks behind on the show. I know I've missed the big things. I've gotten wind of things already. But yeah, so I need to catch up very quickly. All right, and in other news, so Samsung's Unpacked event is going to happen either January or February. And one big thing that might be missing from that Unpacked event to be at a later date is the Z Flip 2. Now, the reason why is because they plan on launching this phone around April or May, similar to what they did with the past one, but they felt that last time it kind of took a little too much attention away from the S series when they announced it at the same time. So what they're planning on doing is basically having separate events. So having one event specifically for the S21 series, and then separately have one for the Z Flip 2 later on in May or April. Now, the really interesting thing about that is that I kind of understand where they're coming from. Like, it takes the shine away from the S21 a little bit. But the really interesting part to me is that it might not be alone when it comes in May or April, because the big one that is also coming is the Z Flip Lite, which is supposed to be a more affordable version for consumers, a under $1,000 or at least $1,000 flip phone. Now, it's not too far out of the realm because, the Z Flip itself was $1,200, I think, when it first came out, around that price. I want to say $1,200, $1,250. I forget which one. It was them and the Razor were around the same time, so I forget which one was priced at what. But to have this light version and still have the UTG, so it's going to have that thin glass kind of quality that you have on the Fold 2 on there, really is interesting. And again, I could totally see them putting a Z Flip Lite and with a Snapdragon, like it would be, right now it's a 756, it'd probably be something like the 766 or something along those lines, 67 maybe. But it's really interesting to see what would happen with a lower tier processor, Still good cameras. I mean, the flip and the fold don't have great cameras. They have the S20 cameras, so it's not like the ultra camera quality, which is far superior in my opinion, especially after spending a long time with it. But yeah, it's really something that I'm very curious to see how it turns out overall, and what kind of quality we're going to get in the end with a light version of a flip that they can price lower. I mean, will it have 128 gigs of storage? Will it have 64 gigs of storage? Will it have 6 gigs of RAM? Will it have 4 gigs of RAM? What is going to be in this phone to make it a cheaper phone, but still be acceptable as $1,000 or $800, whatever price they put phone? And will a lot of people get it? There was a lot of people that said they like the flip style more. I am not one of them. I completely love the fold style more, but it's very interesting to see which way it will go. And yet another report saying again that the Note is going to disappear, and that the S Pen will go to the S21 Ultra and the Fold 3. Again, this is just another one in a long line of reports that are coming out, but it continues to be the story that is being told. Now, I think in this week's Tech Talk Drives, which if you haven't subscribed or if you haven't joined the partnership for the channel, I'm doing them every week, and about 15. I try to make it at least 10 to 20 minutes, basically in that range for each video. But it's literally just talks that I'm having on my drive. I'm going to talk about what losing the Galaxy Note would mean and why I do think it's a mistake. So I'll go more in depth in there and kind of just go over all the things with the Note that I've experienced and what I do not think that Samsung understands about how people feel about their lineup. So yeah. All right, now let's get to your questions. If you have a question you want to ask, just ask it in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. All right. Just your amateur tech, Philip PJ Davis. Hey, sir, how are you doing? All is well. Just a little tired, getting a lot of things happening, and yeah, just trying to keep everything together for sure. The iPhone camera Pro Max camera is incredible. So again, I've used the iPhone 12 for a little while now. The camera is good. It doesn't seem really better to me than last year's, but I don't have the Pro. I don't have the Max series, so it's kind of be interesting to see. I will be doing the best accessories for them though right away. Unfortunately, a lot of videos have been getting pushed back more than I would like. One we were supposed to have yesterday, but I didn't get to finish it just because I did the first draft of the video, basically recorded the video, and it was about 40 minutes long for the Best Black Friday deals in Best Buy, and I felt that was just too long. No one's going to watch that whole thing or even near it. So what I am deciding to do is I'm re-recording it, basically just kind of cutting out all the filler, basically, and just kind of going right to each top one, basically picking 2 or 3 from each category and giving you the best deals for Black Friday for Best Buy. So that hopefully will be up tomorrow morning, if not afternoon. That's what I'm striving for. So that will be up by then. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to try to have another video up, possibly the best accessories for the iPhone. I think that one's next in line. There will be a TCL 5G review at that point as well. And we're also finally going to do the Amazon live show. So basically what I do every year is at midnight at Thanksgiving, the Amazon Prime, or not Amazon Prime, Amazon Black Friday deals start. So I go over every deal that Amazon's offering live with you guys. You guys tell me what you're interested in, and I look for those deals. I tell you what's the best one, what's the bad ones. Because I will say, although the 40-minute one was kind of long for the Best Buy version, I really tried to hit home why you don't want to get this one, that you should get this one. The video is going to end up being just, these are the best deals. I'll say a little bit of why, but that's the main difference that you get from a live show compared to a pre-recording. I don't go in depth as much just because time is always a factor. The Fold 3 will be the new Notebook Ultra. Yeah, it's kind of like a. That is very funny. Can you imagine if they call it the Galaxy Notebook? Because it's like a book with a note. That is very funny. Dude, you should patent that. See if that name isn't trademarked yet. Galaxy Notebook. Um, Phone book. That's funny. iPads, OLED or mini LED? It's looking like OLED is back on the table over mini LED because of production and cost. Um, and really, again, that's why I always say that Samsung's such a big deal because they're the only ones that can mass produce a lot of what Apple always wants and needs. It's why Samsung's going to be one of the main producers of the M1 chip because TW, no wait, TSWC, I forget their name, I don't know. But the Taiwanese company that usually manufactures Apple's processors is basically at capacity, so they're going to have to use Samsung for some of it again, which Samsung has made a lot of A-series processors in the past. Apple has been trying to get away from them for a while, but just Samsung is so dang good at manufacturing, it's hard to get away from them. Qualcomm uses them because they can't produce as many chips, so they have Samsung produce chips as well. 512 gig with SD card? For what? The Fold 3? Maybe. I would be very interested to see what kind of storage we do get for it for sure. It's very interesting to see how much storage we'll get, but yeah, very, very kind of interesting. Hopefully it doesn't cost that much money. Yeah, I'm just hoping Samsung doesn't go over 2,000. They made a mistake this year with the S20 series. They overpriced them, and they definitely paid for it. So I'm hoping they learned their lesson in that sense. Video call is kind of bad. Oh, it's my signal. Okay, got it. All right. So you were what? Okay, yeah. I guess some people were having some issues, but it wasn't that. I'm waiting for Linus's official review on M1 chip review. I think a lot of people are because I think he will, scrutinize it as much as he can, kind of thing. But the funny thing is about Linus's review is, he's going to kind of be the overhead, but he's not really involved in the testing. He's just going to kind of see the results and explain them. So I think that's always kind of interesting to see because, he has a whole company that he can do it. Not that he didn't do this before himself, but it's a very different mold now than it was then. So it's very interesting to see just how, yeah, that will turn out. I think the M1. I talked about this a lot in my tech drive video, but the M1 chip I thought was a huge leap comparing to i3 processors or even i5 processors. It effectively replaced the i3 processors, but with graphics capability that you couldn't even get on a dedicated graphics card all the way up to i7. So it really gave a lot for that. And again, I think Apple is doing the compatibility a lot better than Microsoft ever did. So it's really going to be interesting to see what Microsoft does to catch up because, I mean, if they don't, they own 80% of the market in computers around the world. But if Apple is left unchecked, you could obviously see a huge growth. I'm not saying like 100% or flip the table 80-20, but with Chromebooks taking the lower tier and Apple taking the $1,000 tier, I mean Microsoft could definitely lose. Although I will say most people I feel do buy a PC between $400 and $800. I think that's the sweet spot for most people. But obviously, there's people that spend almost $2,000 on a computer, so it definitely can happen. By the way, my laptop for the Best Buy video, my laptop is on sale for Black Friday. The one I got, so a little upset because I would have saved about $300, but it is what it is. I got it obviously a couple months earlier when I needed it. Should I get an S20 Ultra or Note 20 Ultra or wait for the S21 Ultra? So I would definitely pick the Note 20 Ultra over the S20 Ultra if you want to take photos. If you want to take photos, the Note 20 Ultra is way better. Yes, the S20 Ultra has had a lot of software fixes, but you cannot fix that it did not have laser focus. So with the laser focus that was added to the Note 20, it did a much better job. You're searching too much on the S20 Ultra. It's not as good. So that is one thing that I would definitely get the Note 20 Ultra. I wouldn't even think about the S20 Ultra. So the question is, you get the Note 20 Ultra or the S21 Ultra? Well, again, I mean, the S21 Ultra is looking like it's going to improve the telephoto. It will also improve the main camera, though. How much, that is kind of depending on, but it looks like the camera and the battery life will be the two bigger upgrades from your Note to your S21. But you also think, if you at all want that S Pen, this might be the last one you ever get built in. Because, of course, again, the S21 Ultra, if it has an S Pen, it's looking like it still will not be siloed into it. So it won't be, put it into it. But that will be siloed into it with the Fold 3. So just weigh all your options. Salut. What is the best Android phone now? The best Android phone right now. That is a very tricky question. If you're just talking about if you had all the money and it didn't matter, I would say the Note 20 Ultra. The Note 20 Ultra seems to be the best overall smartphone. I had it for a month. I absolutely loved it. I have moved on to the Fold 2, but the Note had a better battery life. It also had a better camera. So by default, I can't say the Fold is better than the Note, because those are the two things that I feel that are always the most important to most people. Plus it has a pen, which I very well miss. So yeah, those are the main things for it overall. Let's see. How do you get Amazon Prime on your TV? Is it an app? Amazon Prime Video is an app. So yes, that is an app that you can get on a smart TV typically, and obviously on a Fire Stick. But yeah, you can pretty much get it on every kind of smart device out there, pretty much. And yes, it's an app when you get it for there. Another way you can do it is, I'm pretty sure if you have it on your smartphone, you can then stream it to your TV if you have like a Chromecast kind of feature or a screen mirroring feature. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel the stress of the holiday season? Fine, but doing everything online is kind of stressful. Websites crash, etc. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, of course. I think holiday season is stressful. I think, people doing a lot of stuff online is stressful. I mean, look, right now, it's very possible. I live in Los Angeles. They're just shutting down restaurants again tomorrow. And, having had a family that was in the restaurant business for about 30 years of my life, basically, yeah, since I was 5. So yeah, almost 30 years of my life. It's definitely difficult, just a restaurant on its own. So the fact that they're only going to be able to do takeout is very stressful. I could only imagine, like, my mom thanks God that they sold the business before all this kind of stuff happened, because she couldn't have done it. She couldn't have, and she knows that. So it's very stressful. I would say definitely all the stuff online, and I mean, the rumor is that we're about a week away from another lockdown. And again, I want to stress right now, although I'm sympathizing with this comment, I don't want politics in the chat room. I don't want any of that kind of stuff. So please don't get into it about it. But yeah, so that's just one thing. I mean, it's crazy to me when I see stuff like, I sent this to my wife when I was at the grocery store, and just because I was like, again. And sure enough, the aisles with like the toilet paper and all that kind of stuff had been empty. I heard one lady ask the guy there, and he was like, "Yeah, we've been empty since last week." So it is what it is. I'm trying to get through this. It's I don't think it's easy for anyone. But hey, here's to the end of 2020. Can't get here soon enough. Not to say that it'll all go away, but it's just like I think just the idea of 2020 is so like a burden on us now that like the light at the end of the tunnel is 2021, and yeah, so yeah. Um, Apple's first mini LED will be the watch. I thought the Apple Watch was mini LED. Is it not? I thought the Apple Watch was already mini LED. I could have sworn that it was already mini LED at this point. Watch Series 6. Dang it, Apple, I want your specs. I don't want... Of course you just call it a Retina display and not anything more. All they call it is a Retina display, so, and they don't have a specs section for it. I thought it was mini LED at this point. I could be wrong, I guess, but totally thought it was mini LED at this point. Um, I think dropping the Note after the Note 20 Ultra is a bad mistake. That's still, uh, I'm still using the Note 20 Plus. Yeah, I do too. I really do believe it would be a mistake for Samsung to do that overall. And yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. But it's where they're looking to go. Um, Whoa, Mobile Weekly After Hours. How everybody drink. I'll toast to that, Quiet Storm. Yes, unfortunately, today, got to work, a lot of traffic. I had to go to the grocery store and pick up stuff. So I got here at 8:30, and I didn't even realize how late it was. So I literally ate quickly and started the stream. That was my night so far. I still gotta finish setting up this beautiful thing over here. Let's see. Don't get me started on scalping online. I feel kind of sad the kids won't be able to get that Xbox or PlayStation for Christmas. Shame, scalper sold. Yeah, so I just found out today that something really disconcerting. I was listening to the news from I think it was CNET or it was CNET or Nerdist or one of those. But when I'm on the drive home, and they were talking about apparently the law for bots, right? Bots are the things that scalpers use basically to get all of these devices. And basically every one bot, so say if you bought 50 bots, every one bot pretty much was almost always guaranteed to get one PlayStation or one Xbox, if I guess when they used them. So this one company does sells bots in Europe and in the U.S. And apparently, the rule for bots right now, in terms of laws, is that you are not allowed to use bots for any digital item. So basically, i.e., tickets. You're not allowed to use bots for tickets or anything of that nature. Of course, do people still do it? Yes, but if they're ever caught, they can get arrested, go to jail, all that stuff, be fined. But also, companies cannot advertise that either. And if a company advertises that, like we'll sell bots to do something, if they were to get caught, using bots for Ticketmaster, then the company would go out of business. They would be fined and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that is something that, of course, I like that law. Where I don't understand is whoever wrote that law into creation, why did they stop it at digital? The fact is that they, I guess, didn't know that people, do this with iPhones, do this with shoes, do this with, anything limited edition they do this with. But yes, of course, every time a new game console comes out, of course they would do this. So I was just like, really though? Really? Like, I mean, whoever wrote that law was just freaking, so horrible. So horrible. But yeah, so that is one thing that I was definitely like, uh, really sucks. Yes, full 512 gig SD card since no more Note. I would love 512 storage. I don't know if they'll go back to that. I'm honestly fine with 256 gig. I say that owning a 512 micro SD card, so I do like having more storage. But it's not that, like, 256 gig, I think I'm still fine with at this point. I say that, and like, in 256 gig out of my storage, I have used 200. So I'm not saying that I'm like completely that I don't need more storage, but I guess I'm still fine with it for now. But would I love 512? Absolutely. I would just love micro SD card. Let's see. The best Android phone now is one the 51st Day questions on. Well, thank you, Quiet Storm, for tuning in and, of course, reminding me about that. And this week is our shameless plug for 51st Date Questions. 51st Date Questions is the app I created. If you happen to be on a first date this Thanksgiving weekend, who knows, maybe you meet someone in the Black Friday line. If you happen to go out shopping, maybe you're just going online shopping, go into a chat room or whatever the kids do nowadays with their Tinders and all that kind of stuff. But if you happen to go on a first date and you want to have a great icebreaker, this app is great for that. 51st Date Questions, great game to play, finding out things about the other person. Even if you've been in a relationship with this person for many years, you'll find out something that you probably didn't know has changed. 51st Date Questions, links are in the description down below for the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. All right. Yes, please stay polite. Avoid things like religion, politics, racism. Keep personal questions and comments to a minimum. Always appreciate that. Go to Sprouts and Trader Joe's, the toilet tissue, napkins, and such. Yes, actually, the funny thing is like this was by my area, which is the Lakewood Long Beach area, right? So, but I will say when I go to work, I work in a very more high end area, Santa Monica, all that. They have plenty over there. So yeah, if I'm in the need of some, but we have like a lot. We always order from Amazon, so sometimes we get too much and we get backed up, which is a good thing right now apparently. So yeah, we should be good for now, but definitely always kind of paper towels are the more things that I kind of run out of. I would say more often. But yeah. Um, Note 20 Ultra S Pen. Can you use the older nibs for the Note 20 Ultra? I don't think the older nib will fit in the new pen. Um, but yeah, I don't think the nibs will work. In terms of taking one out and putting it in the new S Pen, because it's a different thinness and sensitivity on the Note. The Note 20 has a better sensitivity than the Note 10 did for pen writing. However, if you have an old S Pen, it will work on the Note 20. Any S Pen works on any Note. So I can use an S Pen from my Tab S7 Plus over here on a Note, and it'll work just fine. So yeah. Is there any difference? Yes. Again, it's slightly thinner, and it is much. It's much more precise, basically, in terms of the digitizer on it as well. How to ruin a friendship or a holiday gathering. Talk religion, race, or politics. Absolutely. Don't do it. Yeah, I mean, luckily, I will say, I think it's maybe because I don't like our two families that we visit for Thanksgiving on my wife's side and my side. It's only like four people on each side that we're really seeing or hanging out with on a given holiday. So maybe that's the reason, like, everyone kind of thinks alike, but we don't still talk about those three subjects, but like they don't vary much. But yeah, I could imagine like my friend, he has people way on one side and way on the other side of two of those topics. And yeah, he's always like, I can't believe that. Like, yeah, it's so crazy sometimes for sure. Uh, just say amen and watch football and eat. Absolutely. Good times. Good times. Uh, them PlayStations are impossible to get. Yeah, I'm very very thankful and lucky that I got the PlayStation. I did do the right thing though. I don't know. I think I told you guys this for who when you remember. I was able to secure three PlayStation orders. Three. We somehow got two on GameStop by accident because I was trying and my wife was trying. And then but those were like huge bundles, like $900 $800, because like it was the regular PlayStation with the headphones and all this kind of stuff, and then like I didn't want any of that. um I just wanted the digital PS5, and that was it. That was all I wanted, and an extra controller. Luckily, like later that same day or the day after, I was able to get it at Best Buy. So I was able to instantly return the GameStop versions to hope that they were available for someone else. I probably could have, yeah, sold it and made money, but I didn't want to be a part of that. So it was just, yeah, it was definitely. I'm thankful that I was able to get it for sure. Um, we need all the storage. um, Ricky, I'm just kind of stirring up the pot a bit here, breaking up the monotony. So we talk about other stuff and not just tech, but starting an EMS. Are we good? Oh no, yeah, no, I'm fine with it. I'm not ever like I see this as I mean it's a tech show first and foremost with the news. But I mean, I could talk to you guys like again. And I'm gonna start doing that on some of the tech drives too. I know because I need a topic every week for tech drive, so I'm just trying to always think of what topic am I going to talk about, so I have one. But yeah, with the memberships, basically what I did was every week there's a tech drive, so it's going to be me talking about 10 to 20 minutes, having a conversation about some topic. The first week was about the M1 chips and what they mean to the industry. The second week was what to look for in a laptop, every detail that you need to know when buying a laptop so you get the best one. This week will be the legacy of the Note and kind of what it meant to Samsung and what mistake and how it'll impact them if they get rid of it. Um, Also, with tier two, you get behind the scenes stuff. So, tier two is going to actually see this nice background basically and how everything's going to look, basically building this up. So, that's for tier two membership. And then tier three membership is going to get a special live chat probably next weekend in the morning instead of at night. Just kind of like a private one between I think we have three members right now. So just between those three members and me just kind of talking about whatever. So those are the different membership tiers that I kind of started, and that's why like I don't ever mean to like do different things, but yeah, it should be fun. Um, no more Note, no more me. Bye Samsung. Bye Felicia. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, really. I do really think that Samsung doesn't understand the importance of the Note. I'll say that. Have you seen any movies that you're looking forward to seeing? It can be a topic you could use on Tech Drive. Yeah. Really, when it comes to movies, I mean, the two big ones are going to streaming. So you have Disney Soul, which is coming out Christmas Day, and now Wonder Woman is coming out Christmas Day. So those are two that I'm really still surprised that Wonder Woman's coming out Christmas Day. I really did not see that coming. But yeah, I just one other movie that I was kind of interested in because I loved Happy Death Day is that I think it's called Freaky. It's the Vince Vaughn. It's basically like Chucky meets Freaky Friday, because basically the killer puts their soul into another thing, but it's a person. So basically, and now this little innocent girl is actually a serial killer, and this old middle-aged guy who was a serial killer is actually a girl. So it's kind of just like a very interesting premise to me. So yeah, I wanted to check that out, but I think it will come to streaming soon if it hasn't already. So that's one that I was kind of interested in seeing because I loved Happy Death Day. I thought that was a really good one. Happy Death Day 2, they kind of jumped the shark at the end for sure. But yeah, kind of wait to see that one. But yeah, Wonder Woman, HBO Max, and but yeah, I now have way too many streaming services. So HBO Max is $15 a month. What I'm doing is I'm doing basically a split. So me, my friend, and his dad are all paying $5. So it's only $5 a month for me. That way, like, okay, it's worth it for HBO Max then for me. Peacock, they had a special deal where it was $25 for the year. So I was like, okay, that's very affordable, obviously. So I paid that, I think Peacock and HBO Max are just really not doing that well, so they're having to do these low tier prices. Um, Disney, obviously, I still have. I bought that for 3 years down because it was only $3 a month. So again, really great prices, and that's why Disney is doing so well right now. I think the thing I'm most looking forward to though is WandaVision. That I'm so looking forward to. But yeah, very curious to see how it'll go. From what you know now, oh, thank you so much for the super chat donation, Cornelius Burnett. Burn Bernice? Hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name right. But Cornelius, thank you so much for the super chat donation. From what you know now, in 5 years, which two streaming platforms will survive out of all of them and their problems currently? Ooh. Okay, so here's the thing. The two biggest ones that I could see thriving 5 years from now. I have a very popular opinion, but I do not think Netflix will be thriving 5 years from now. I don't. I do not see them thriving anymore. I see them in trouble. And it's just if you look at their financial sheet, they are incredibly in debt. Incredibly in debt. Billions upon billions of dollars in debt. So I see as soon as Netflix loses subscribers, they're literally done as a company. I believe Apple could buy them. I totally believe Apple could buy them in that time, because I don't think Apple Plus will do well. So, in 5 years' time, the two that I see being the dominant ones is I do believe Disney Plus. I believe Disney Plus will eventually absorb Hulu. So I believe because Disney owns the majority stakehold because of the Fox purchase, they own the majority of Hulu. So I could totally see Disney Plus just absorbing Hulu, absorbing ESPN Plus even, and calling it, whatever, another tier system basically higher of Disney Plus basically. So you have that first. The other one that I see being a dominant player is HBO Max. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, HBO has already absorbed regular HBO. It has absorbed DC Universe, which was its own streaming service. And I believe truly it will absorb CBS All Access. I believe CBS All Access cannot survive on its own. It won't have that many subscribers in order to sustain itself. So I believe all of that will move towards HBO Max as it's under the same umbrella. So, therefore, I do believe that you're going to have HBO Max and Disney Plus be the two dominant ones thriving in 5 years. Peacock and Paramount Plus, which hasn't even launched yet, is are another possibility. But I just don't see them being on the same scale as one. Warner Brothers and Disney have the bigger library, so if you're talking about old movies, they can put everything on there, and they will have us because they have so much. But yeah, for me, I see HBO Max absorbing CBS All Access, giving it all that content as well. So much content on that side, and then you have Peacock again, kind of rearing third or fourth depending on where Netflix is. And again, Disney Plus probably having the top amount of subscribers, because you have to realize this. It's like, here's the thing: when it comes to content, Disney Plus is going to have Marvel shows, Star Wars shows, Disney shows, and more. Like, I mean, it's really so much of a thing. Not to mention, again, remember, they have Fox's entire library. Fox had the biggest library out of any studio. So you can begin to see so many old school Fox movies start coming to Disney Plus. Like, and it's not going to cost them anything. They're literally just going to be like, yeah, let's add this set of movies. Let's add this set of movies. Let's add this set of movies whenever they want. If ever they feel they don't have a show coming up, all they have to do is add things, and they have the money, they have the ability to do that. I mean, look, what they gave for free at Disney Plus. They gave Hamilton, which was going to make them at least a couple hundred million. They were fine with putting it on Disney Plus. They were going to release a Pixar movie, Soul, which was going to make a couple $100 million, and they just put it on Disney Plus. So they have such a plethora of stuff, and yeah, it really is. And a lot of people don't know this, but HBO Max is really good for kids actually too, because my son loves Sesame Street, and HBO Max has every single, what, I think 50 seasons of Sesame Street on there. So yeah, Disney Plus has The Simpsons, every season of Simpsons, 30 plus a year, or 20 or 30 plus seasons of The Simpsons. So yeah, there's so much content, and it's only just getting started with those two. So yeah. Let's see. I've never been online for an hour and 20 minutes pushing the add a cart and checkout buttons ever. Oh my god, I see smile on the kid's face and it's worth it. Damn scalpers. Yeah, it really I think me and my wife were probably on, like, trying to buy a PlayStation for at least 2 hours, I think it was. And again, I that was on top of that. I think it was like after midnight, or no, you know what it was? It was so I knew a trick. Best Buy changes their day at because they're in Mountain Time. They change their day at 10 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. Right? So at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when midnight hits for their website. So what I did was I was waiting and refreshing the website at that time, specifically at 10 p.m. So if you're trying to get it for Black Friday, I don't know if it'll be online. I think it might only be in store. But if you're trying to get one for Black Friday, here's a tip for Best Buy. Refresh it at 10 p.m. Keep refreshing it at 10 p.m. and you might get one at that time. That's when I got my PlayStation. I was refreshing at 10 p.m. because I was like, if they have any, it'll come in at midnight for them. And sure enough, it did, and that's how I got it. Disney Plus probably the one. I didn't think about HBO Max. Quiet Storm, I swear, I'm so done with 2020. Yeah, for sure. We can all get through this as we're together. Absolutely. What's up, brother man? Prayers for my mom. She works a bunch of COVID patients and still. She's good right now. I'm just concerned. Definitely, Jay. I mean, we thank your mom. I mean, I truly do believe that, like, whatever you think of any situation in terms of the pandemic, we have to give it up to all the nurses and doctors and everyone helping out patients right now. It is a thankless job because of the diversity in the country. And so, I mean, just the amount of hours they're working, the amount of stress that they have, the overwhelming just lack of numbers that they have is just, man. So yeah, definitely just thankful for every, like I saw something the other day and I truly do believe that. Uh, you know, if even if we don't ever get to the point where we can wipe out student debt, we should wipe out nurses' debt. If you did this, they should get. There's been so many deaths in this that, like, we should have like a veteran kind of system for all of the medical personnel. I believe, because they've just done so much for the country. Um, I'm looking for a 75 inch around 2000 to around 2000 and 2300. Hopefully, I can get a good deal on Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Any recommendations? Check out our Best Buy video that we'll be posting tomorrow, because yes, I have a 75 inch for less money than that, but I'm not sure what quality you're looking for. Because the one I think I picked out was 1,200 for a 75 inch, which was the Samsung 60T. You can't get an 80T, which will be closer to that price point, and it's better quality local dimming. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Um, do you think the retail companies will fix their websites to block bots for PS5 for PS5s? They can't. It's just it's very, like, the only things you can put to safeguards are those little things like, oh, does this picture show a bike, or does this picture show traffic lights? That's basically all you can do. But ultimately, you can't stop all bots. It sucks. It's really sucky, but it's the truth. That's why you need to do it on I feel like a government law level, which again they've done for digital stuff. So for Ticketmaster, you can't do it. So yeah. Any thoughts on Netflix or other streaming services raises their pricing during a pandemic? Um, I mean, I'm done with Netflix. I'm really done with Netflix. Like, I truly do believe, after this year, we're canceling our Netflix, because I've been watching Netflix almost all of this year. I don't think I maybe have seen one show on Netflix this year, and that was it. Like, I have not really cared to watch anything on Netflix. It has nothing for me. So I'm pretty much done with it. We're down to the lowest tier. I was paying the top tier for Netflix, UHD 4 TVs. I am now down to one TV at a time for Netflix, because that's how little I use it. Well, as little my family uses it, because they've gotten used to. I just added Peacock, so we've had HBO Max and Disney Plus for a while now. Plus Sling TV, so it's just, you have to start cutting back, obviously, or else you're just going to be paying more than cable. Um, so it's the PS5 is going to be a serious sale, being that it's been released. In other words, we'll have a mess sale. Um, I don't see what the PS5 won't have a sale, but it's going to be in stock. The big thing about Black Friday in retailers from Walmart and Best Buy is they are going to have, to get people indoors, they're going to have PlayStations and what do you call it, Xboxes in stock on Black Friday. Obviously, it's going to be for, like, we don't know if it's going to have 10 of them in the store, 5 of them in the store. I'm sure some stores aren't even going to get any. But that's the plan, basically. Do you have a video or instructions on getting a Peacock on Fire Stick? I thought they came to an arrangement, but possibly not. On a Fire Stick, you should be able to side load it though. You should be able to side load it. I don't have a video for instructions for it. I don't have a Fire Stick, but I think you should be able to side load it if it's still not available. But I know Fire Stick got one of them. I don't know if it was HBO Max or Peacock, but it just got one of them like within the past 2 weeks, because it wasn't there at launch. But yeah, basically, Amazon and Roku wanted more money. Then Google TV came out. Everyone's loving it. I mean, I'm gonna get one. I don't need one, but I'm gonna get one. And so yeah, so that really kind of like, oh, okay, no HBO. We'll take you. Peacock will take you, but they're still making arrangements. All right. Oh yeah, we will be heading out because yes, I cannot be streaming too late or too long live streaming. My wife has shows to watch. But yeah, guys, so we will call that a show. I'm gonna literally end this video and get finishing up with the Best Buy sale details. So I'll be doing that for the next couple hours so that I can put that video out tomorrow, hopefully by afternoon. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like this video, please give a like, thumbs up down below. I really would appreciate it. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy.